The story for Star Rail 3.0 looks to be one of the biggest and most ambitious stories we've seen so far. There are titans, the chrysos heirs, the 3 paths, and all sorts of other lore goodies slated to be released as part of the main Trailblaze story. One of the key points of this story though is the flamechase journey, the epic quest undertaken by the human inheritors of the titans. But what exactly is the flamechase journey? What do they have to do, and is it tied to the greater Honkai universe? That's what I want to talk about in this video. The most important journey of Amphoreus' future heroes, the flamechase journey. Before we get into that, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. Okay, for this video, I'm going to try to keep it as brief as I possibly can because my goal here is just to give you an introduction on what to expect for the 3.0 story. It's mostly a context video on some of the major plot points for Amphoreus. Most of what I will discuss is collected from trailers, special programs, and the official forum posts, but I might make some speculations of my own here and there. Plus, just remember that this is only meant as an intro to the story. Once 3.0 actually drops, we might learn more about the flamechase journey that may make this video largely obsolete. If that happens, I'll be sure to make an updated one in the future. I'll also try to include a bit of context from Honkai Impact, but just know that I have not played the game myself, so some of my understanding lore-wise might not be entirely accurate. Fret not though, as many in this community are Honkai Impact veterans, so I'm sure they would be more than happy to provide further context. Let's start with the main quest of the Amphoreus protagonist, or as it's referred to in the special program, the flamechase journey. We actually learned quite a bit about this from the special program, especially what it entails, who are involved, and why they are doing it. So within the context of Honkai Star Rail, the flamechase journey is essentially a quest taken up by the chrysos heirs, individuals who are fated to inherit the power of the titans. The heirs are a very rare breed, as only a few among the population of Amphoreus are chosen as chrysos heirs, and fewer still among these heirs are chosen to take part in this journey. Each chrysos heir will have to journey to the location each titan resides, defeat them, and collect their core flames. The core flames are what gives the titans divine authority over a specific domain. You can kind of think of them as their symbol of divinity as well as source of power. Once these core flames are collected, they are then brought to the Vortex of Genesis, the origin of the Amphoreus world, and a sanctuary that houses the original divinity of the 12 titans. At the completion of this quest, a prophesized miracle will happen, referred to as the Miracle of Genesis, where Amphoreus will be saved from its current state of calamity. As you might have guessed, the point of this whole thing is to essentially save Amphoreus from its currently crumbling state. But how did Amphoreus even get to such a sorry condition? I've talked about this in a bit more detail in my Titans video, but my interpretation of all this is that since the Dark Tide descended upon Amphoreus, the Titans have one by one fallen either to corruption or infighting. This resulted in many of the fundamental forces holding Amphoreus together to collapse and many of the great cities falling into ruin. It's my speculation that the divine authority of the Titans function in a more practical manner, in that they literally hold the existence of Amphoreus together, so when the Titans eventually die or disappear, the planet subsequently falls into decay. So by collecting the core flames of the Titans, I'm assuming that the Miracle of Genesis is actually a hard reset to the world of Amphoreus itself, as the term Genesis suggests the world would be remade. The special program also mentions that by the time the Express arrives in Amphoreus, the flamechase journey would have been going on for 1,000 years, with 6 out of the 12 core flames already recovered. The Trailblazer and Dan Heng will be the first to get involved and assist Amphoreus in retrieving the 7th core flame, the core flame of Strife from the Titan Nicodor. So to recap, the flamechase journey is pretty much a hero's quest that involves the chrysos heirs who work to collect the core flames, return them to the Vortex of Genesis, and revive Amphoreus, thus saving it. The Trailblazers will play their usual role of disruptors of fate and act as allies to those in Amphoreus, specifically the chrysos heirs. Of course, this is clearly not the entire story, and I'm sure things won't happen the way we expect them, but as far as the opening chapters of Amphoreus is concerned, this is what the flamechase journey is. Now, if you just wanted to know about how the 3.0 story will start, that's basically it. I don't feel it's too complicated, and I hope this helps some of you text skippers to at least go into the story with a bit of understanding on what's going on. From here on though, I want to talk a bit about the flamechasers of Honkai Impact. As far as I can tell, and it's even clarified in the special program, you don't need to know the next part for the story in Star Rail to make sense. It's largely not connected, but there are similarities between the characters and maybe even some of the story elements. But they are in no way indicative of each other. If a character was a villain in Honkai Impact, it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be the same in Star Rail. The developers have mentioned it quite clearly that they want players to have their own experiences and memories with the Star Rail story without having to rely on the Honkai Impact one. Also, I never personally played Honkai Impact, so take what I'm about to say here with a grain of salt, as I'm not super informed on the lore. Generally speaking, many worlds within this universe experience a recurring rebirth theme or cycle where the death of one universe leads to the rebirth of the next. The end of the universe is often brought about by the Honkai, which you can kind of think of as an end of the world scenario or cataclysm. Each event uses agents in different forms to exact its will, like Honkai beasts, plagues, or heirs, an apostle of the Honkai itself. As most people don't want to simply accept their deaths, many of the inhabitants of these worlds often group up to resist the Honkai. In Honkai Impact's world, the previous universe had a similar type of group or organization. Within that organization, several projects were developed as methods to circumvent the Honkai, one of which is the Flamechaser project. 13 unique and special individuals were chosen to lead humanity's fight against the literal end of the world. These individuals would wield weapons made from the Hersher cores of previously defeated Hershers, which gave them the ability to combat the current ones threatening their universe. As far as I understand it, the 13 of the previous era lost the overall fight, with some losing their lives and the rest going into a deep slumber, awaiting the new universe where they can reawaken to assist the new age in rebuilding and preparing for the next Honkai event. Now, to be clear, I'm giving you not only my understanding of this whole thing, but a very simplified version here. I'm really doing this to highlight some similarities between the Flamechasers of Honkai Impact and those of Amphoreus. The story is almost roughly the same in that the Hersher cores used in their divine weapons are similar plot devices to the core flames, the Titan powers are their abilities, and the 13 Flamechasers are the chrysos heirs. Even the whole purpose of the Flamechase journey, that is to save Amphoreus from Cataclysm, is the same reason the Flamechasers were formed, to save their universe from the Honkai Cataclysm. It's not an exact copy, but elements of it are there. There is one major difference though. The Flamechasers of Honkai Impact, and even those across the other universes, almost always never succeed. In fact, most of them are long gone. Now, I know that earlier I said that the stories aren't likely to be parallel copies of one another, but it does present an interesting possibility. What if Amphoreus ends in failure, much like the rest of these other universes, and disaster cannot be avoided? Could it be possible that this is the first time the nameless are met with outright defeat, and Amphoreus disappears from the universe? It's possible, but perhaps unlikely, as in the special program it's mentioned that the key point of Amphoreus' story development is the hero's journey, and more often than not, the heroes tend to win, right? So perhaps this might be the one situation where the Flamechasers, in this case the chrysos heirs, end up victorious. But even a positive outcome comes with it a whole lot of different implications. I mean, if they do share a universe, would Amphoreus become the template for all others on how to save their own universe? Does Amphoreus' story repeat itself in the larger universe of Star Rail, and eventually, will we need to collect the core flames of the eons to stop finality? Are we actually in a simulation and Star Rail is the singular project among thousands that actually gives a positive result against the Honkai? All interesting questions that I'm eager to explore in the future, but for now, I think that does it for this video. I only really wanted to give you some context for the upcoming story and not ramble on about theories, so I'll save all of that for next time. I hope that it's been even a little bit helpful, and I hope you're looking forward to more Amphoreus lore content in the future. If I messed up anything on the details here, especially the Honkai Impact stuff, feel free to correct me and provide the right context in the comments. If you found the video entertaining or even helpful, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and as usual, have a nice day.